I think we're going to start it. We're at our last deal with those details, but this time we're going to be going through the entire model because it's actually going to be building project from start to finish, including the plan sheets. How many people are architects in here? So how many engineers? Couple? How many architects or contractors that want their engineer to move from AutoCAD to SketchUp? Okay, this is your class. This is, we are potentially providing the gateway to solve that problem quickly and efficiently. But anyway, I'm David Zachary, President of Zachary Engineering. Is Jesse Brown. He's our senior project engineer. We are licensed in all those states and up in British Columbia. We centrally work out of Tahoe. We do all that work for all those states in one spot. I'm also a pilot, so I can fly around to the different projects. We've been in business since 1998, and I have over 30 years experience in this field. And in 2009, with Nick Saunders' help, all know Nick Saunders, goes again. He got me into SketchUp, and from there we went to 100% SketchUp. We've been doing it ever since. And we, over the years, developed our detail library and now this modeling process that we're going to show you today and see about if you guys are interested. I'll give it over to Jess. Thank you. Hello, everyone. We'll try to do this without totally disconnecting the screen.
It's good. Okay. Who built plans heads of land?
Sketch the land. Most of us? Okay. I see Brock back there. It was obvious. Yeah, he was good one yesterday. So anyone that gets digital twins tomorrow, again, or Thursday? Okay, almost. Hit it up. Good presentation. So what we're going to look at today is kind of our process, starting from, what we get in an architectural model and how we produce the structural drawings, and they're actually laying it for permit and for CDs. It's going to be a little bit abbreviated. We've only got, probably 50 minutes before Q&A, so I'm not going to model the whole thing for you. That was my goal, but when I tested it, it took me 22 minutes instead of 10 to model this house, so that was that BA you got to see at the very beginning. We'll touch on it and still run through the process, but I'm not going to sit up here and draft for you. We just don't have time. So yeah, we're going to start with the architectural model and then kind of look at our setup scripts and our setup and how that relates to our internal component libraries, and then how those then relate into our layout templates. Templates are important. Take a look at how we're going to build the actual structural model. We're going to use for that. Building it with the layout templates so that they pop. Looking at our detail library and building those detail sheets that relate to the specific plan. We're going to look at some of the extra fun info, some of the extensions we use on a relatively regular basis and how we use those to help us be more efficient. And then a full set example of some recent projects so you can kind of get a sense of the projects that we do. The one we're working on today, which we can see here, is just a small 3-car garage, Sonoma, California, Marcus Abuelo's Architects. And I only did a small one so that we could actually get through at least the majority of plan set. This stuff takes time to build, and we don't have lots of it. So let's go right into it. And boom. So we're ready to rip this off. Okay, so what we're going to do is we start with an architectural model, which is going to be this. Well, that's loading. Let's talk about it real quick. Building plan sets and layout uses a section approach. No, kind of. So you've got basically one raster for the Nick Saunders approach. You've got a raster, a vector. You run a section down that gives you your cut that generates your plan set, right? The kind of sort of. We use more of a raster vector stacked approach. It's kind of the same thing, but a little bit different.
You mean stacking viewports?
Stacking viewports, yeah. Right, so the way we have this set up is we've got raster on the bottom, and that's going to basically be our framing. It's going to be faded out so you can see the other side above. Columns, beams, shear, all that is stacked above. so that we get our nice view and plan set. So with that in mind, it's how we had to set up our layering system in SketchUp. If layering tags, so here's what we get from an architect. Essentially, we'll get this model, probably their layout documents, so we can match our plan set to the exact spot on the page that they do. Probably a progress set in PDF form, which is helpful in case there's missing information in the low. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing and we're just going to really quickly clean it up so that we can use it for our stuff. So let's go to just our scenes. I don't need architectural scenes, right? That looks fine. I'm just going to run as a quick little chat in case. I'm just going to purge it. In my opinion, don't use purge very often, at least in your model info, because if you've got your template layers or your template stuff and you haven't dropped that in yet, and it's all set up, you do click purge, everything, all those layers that don't have anything you want are gone, and you're in trouble. I did that on a project I was ticked. Cost me half a day.
I've created a placeholder to make case.
Yeah, no, there's ways, but it happens. So we're just going to clean this up real quick. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run proprietary scripts, right? I always get the question doing, this style of presentation is, well, why don't you just use a SketchUp template that has all this stuff already built? And the answer really is, because there are a lot of different styles of models, there's a lot of different architects we work with, there's a lot of different software that we import. If I need to copy and paste all these different models, not everyone generates great models, it could take 5 or 10 minutes to copy a model and put it into our template. Or I'm just going to sit at the desk going, that's a lot of waste of time, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this house, and I know I've got, a slab foundation. I'm not going to go show you the plan set that confirms that. Slab foundation, 1 story. So I know that for our script, right, I'm going to need a 1-story script for the slab foundation. So on here, you see what I'll run it and then explain what's happening. So I've got plan set, right? I've got slab and grade or frame floor for a 1-story. I also have that for my others, right? We're just going to run the slab and grade. Let's just run it. Give this a sec on the old dot pot. It's trying. It's the dot. I swear it's not this slow. We can see that our tags are starting to get populated on the right there. And this thing's not happy. Sorry about that. Okay, well, as it's thinking, what we're doing is we're generating all of our tags and all of our scenes. So we see at the top here, all of our scenes are now set up. All of those scenes have the correct tags associated with them now. So if I undo our structurals here, as I work my way through this, oh, I skipped a step, but that's okay, we'll fix it. We're gonna look at the right here, and you can see as I click through my scenes, my tags are changing. Okay, so let's fix my mistake here, where I did begin. We're just gonna select all the architectural stuff that's still there, and I'm gonna group that. Right? I'm gonna add that to my architectural sketch model. Okay. So what did that script do? We generated all our scenes, all our tags. We imported custom styles, which are in here, right? Import our custom styles. We sent it to parallel projection on the top view for all the scenes it needs to be. We went to isometric view on all the ones that need to be isometric. I deleted majority of the guides that are in there. There was one way work one in there. What else did there do? Plane, right? It turned fog on all my raster scenes. So that's all there. All I have to do is now update how I want it to look. But now from here, we're set to go. We can move towards how we're going to model this thing. So internal, how many run internal component libraries, not just the extension warehouse, stuff that's local? It's a good idea to start building that stuff, honestly. right? We've all had the issue where warehouse decides, I don't want to work right now, which is always fine if we try to find something super specific. So let's go to our component library, and we go 1 story frame floor. That's what we ran our script with, right? So we're progressing. A 1 story frame floor. This is going to drop in everything I need. Where are my shadows showing? That shouldn't be happening. Anyway, we'll get the idea. So here, everything you bring in from the component library is a component. First number it is, it's 12 out. So now what we have is everything we need to start to model with structure. All the way from phase, to free falls, foundation, various options. That's going to get crazy, sorry. Shadows are not really a problem. Thank you, okay. All these are potential sizes that I might want to build my pre-engineered model with. But I'm not sure. I know that we've done enough projects with Sonoma, I'm going to go 4x8s, 4x8s, 6x8s, depending on the architectural wall sizes. So I'm going to work on these. Now what's important, as Eric was bringing in earlier, is that this is internal information, which is why we're bringing it in and not just redrawing a lot of stuff. We are using the component info. It's on a specific tag object, which is important because we set up the steel shot layers on that script also. So every model is ready for us to do steel shots if necessary. The instance, the 6x8, right, which is different for each member, is what we're going to use to enable our plan set layer. All right? So I'm going to skip the magic part. We're not going to actually model this thing because we're going to go straight into what this model looks like after. We're going to talk about the shear walls real quick because those are important. Those are dynamic components. That's the colored wall, which you'll see here in a second, the blue one. So what we're doing internally on those, how many could we use redraw? We know what redraw is a little bit. So when you're doing, I'll show it to you. Essentially, dynamic components, when you're asking it to do internal calculations, will not always redraw itself without being prompted to do that. I'll show you. So if I look at, this block here, I look at my dynamic component. So what we do, again, while we're dropping this stuff in, we're asking dynamic component to spit out the aspect ratio, the height, the length, and then we also have shear labels for when we actually get through design. And that's what ends up on the plan set. We spit out the length and we spit out the shear label directly from the model onto our plan. Okay? So when I do this, I'll make any. If I come this way, which is about 6 inches, what we notice is that it did not update the length. Right? This is actually about 4.75 feet, not 4.25 feet. So I need to redraw. And then, oh, look, that's 4.75. So something to keep in mind of those. So that's something when we drop these things, we have to do each time. Or we have the plugin, which I think is still available on the extension warehouse, which is redraw all, which is easy. Anyways, moving on. So here we are. We've got this model built. Now we can take a look at our scenes. We can go through these. And now we start to see what that script did, right? It broke these all out so that we can stack these down. And then we now have different viewports. Those are some of the custom styles we imported for the cover page. Right, we set up all these scenes, so we had different isometrics for the cover page, which helps the contractor look just at the cover and go, oh, and I see 8 pieces of steel that looks like a lot of foundation. I have a pretty good idea of what this is going to cost. Not perfect, but it's close, right? So let's go. Let's start with the plan set. So what do we use? We use 1-story slab, right? All right. Notice I keep chiming on that script to model the layering. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open that file. New. My templates. Who's got a template set up and laid out? Yeah? Good. You added the folder, so easy access? Good. All right, so we've got a 1-story. Mine sets 1-story frame floor. Nope, 1-story slab. We're not in the Hawaii. We know it's a 24 by 36 from the architectural sheets. Let's open up. So what we'll notice here is these are all built out for that 1-story level. I've got a roof shear plan, which notes already built in. All right, roof fanning plan, notes. I have my anchor plan, notes off to the side, just where they got put. A stand elevation plan, same kind of thing, foundation plan, statement of special inspections, general notes, and a structural cover sheet, right? So let's just get this going. That's our model. And if I can remember where I put this thing. Oh, I did forget to mention, if you have questions as I go, just ask them. Don't wait till the end. Okay, this will be fine for you.
So nearly outside with a blank model that
It's basically it's a holder model, if you will. It's a template model. So I do that so when we run the script, everything is already set up, and I just throw our logo in there as a placeholder so I know where he is on the screen. You can actually see here, I've got a note, just relink to current model. And that's so, if someone else is doing this, or my new drafter is doing it, they just know, relink, don't get lost. So that's the model we're working on. We're just going to open it. It's going to open it for us. Cool. So here we are. Now we could take a quick look. Oh, that's pretty good, right? Now I got to clean this up a little bit there, but that's fine. So move it up its side now. We do know the red box means something isn't quite grabbing right now. So again, because that was grabbing a different part of the viewport that's now elsewhere. We do that. I used to have templates for multiple scales. I got really tired of updating multiple templates. So we built it into the viewport, so it could change this, we can just change it. And then you just have to change the scenes. It's easier to change a couple pages of scenes for scales than it is to update your templates 3 times a year. That's kind of a total pain. Okay, so from this point, what do we have? We've got all this stuff set up, cover sheet set up. Now we go, okay, this has been about to a design. Now we have to get the thing designed. We're going to skip the engineering part of this and just work on the plan. I do want to show you one quick thing that is in here. It's kind of something we've worked on, kind of spent a bunch of time on because the output isn't there. But for instance, if a drafter gets this and wants to have a really quick idea, well, I'm not sure that's the right size. I want to help them out on the design side. I want to size this correctly now. Okay, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come in here. And this is, again, built into those components we dropped in. I'm just going to, for the sake of this, just to show off, we're just going to say that there's a bunch of snow in Napa. There's not, for those that don't know much about Napa. We're just going to say it's 150 psi of snow, and all I need to get it now is the tributary rip. So 23.5 feet, so let's just call it 12 feet for be a little bit conservative. 12 feet, there's no overhang, okay, let's just apply. And we can come down here and look at, oh man, it's reading the geometry and the opening. I'm almost 400% over stress. That's not so good, right? So let's just, notice I haven't made those unique because it's the same geometry, same opening sizes. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it a 6x10. And we have to redraw. Up 242, that's not so good. We're getting a little bit big. And now I'm going to go to Glulam. Let's go to Glulam. That's not a standard size, so we're about another 1 inch, right? We can be doing minutes. 10 minutes. Oh, 5.5 by 10.5 to it. So redraw it. Still not. If I call, now, oopsies. We see this as iterative process. For a presentation, that's not awesome, but for a drafter who's just trying to help out, okay, great, if it gets me a size, then it comes to us to design. Cool, that's awesome, right? Almost there, excited, let's just go up 3, make it work. It's probably a 50-inch blue end, boom, okay. So as a starting point, I can see right here, about 98%. I probably go a little bit bigger, I did for design, but I know that that's pretty good, right? So now I can do is for labeling the plan, and for the designer when he gets this, not 51.5, 5.5 inch by, what is it, 15-inch spooling. All right. Oh, now I've got something to work with. We'll save that. And voila, a full house is designed correctly. So let's go back to layer. We always start the cog when we're further down.
Under those dynamic components, where are you adding those attributes? Or
In attributes, I'll show you real quick.
gotcha. And that's all just in there.
That's how I had to go out and test it. I go out. Yeah, this is all internal custom stuff. So, yeah. And there is another one that we'll jump into soon, which is the stand elevations that are automatic, but that's in a... So let's go back to here. Let's update. Let's really quickly label this plan. Okay. So now, because it's internal data, I'm only going to do a couple of these because it's, we don't need to group every being. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Sorry, guys. Minimal layers that we operate from in layout. It's built into the templates. That's the framings are raster. The rest of these are vector that are stacked in that order, so that your columns are above beams and above shear, so that on the plan they show up above those, and then our legends call out the colors which are above and below. We'll see that on CAD a little bit later. So here we go. You show on the right layer. We're just going to label these three right here. All internal. Voila. Okay. And then we're going to just draw the root lines in real quick. Again, scrapbooks. Who knows that we can grab styles from scrapbooks and not just stuff? All right, grab your style. Here, we're just going to do the rids real quick. No, so this could be. That's fine. I know, because I've done this house already. I've built a 6 and 12 roof. Who uses Spline to find a document? Yeah? Anyone else? No? I don't have the shortcuts. Let me put them in here real quick, because that's a really cool one.
It'd be Control H.
No, I've changed it. But you can find the other ones. But what it does is it'll find either on the page or in the document. You can change multiple callouts of the same kind. It's really helpful if you have a detail on a plan set that gets deleted and you haven't submitted. You want to fill in that blank real quick without using table all of them. Move the last one down and goes from, search the plan set for detail 519 and it'll replace it with 516, whatever. It's just, again, avoiding a bunch of clicks. And this is just the 6 and 12. Oopsies. Okay, I'm not going to worry so much about the notes. We know in this case, I drafted them as PMPs, Community Factor Trusses. That's what it ended up being on this house, which is just about done, by the way. I'll show you a photo later. And essentially, there are no connection details that I need to pull out on this sheet because this is a very, very simple house. For instance, if we had, I don't know, if we had some kind of a post and beam, skirt roof or something out here, that's where I could drop in a detail call out. But this job doesn't recall that, right? I'll look at some detail stuff I'll share. Well, so there we have, and this is all then be called out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to transfer manually. I'm still working on something to do this not manually, but all of the versions have not worked out so well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hash our walls. But our structural, again, all we do are 2 lines here. So that when we get down to the next level down, we can see what's going on above without having to have that sheet open. So let's just grab that little area. Well, okay, so now I'm down to foundation. Typically at this point, I'm not going to do much on the foundation plan. I'm going to go up and I'm either going to go up to the shear plan or multiple stories. Obviously, you go upper and then mid and then foundation. This house is only the one story. So let's go up to the shear plan and look at this one. These are the shear walls. I've pre-designed them just for the sake of showing what this looks like. But our drafter, when they set up this layout document, we're going to go into our scrapbooks. But let's just do a couple lines here. Notice you see the red, I'm missing something. All this is built-in information, relays to those shear holes that are already doing automatic information for us. So now that they are linked, if I go back into the model and I need to make this window a little bit bigger, and I alter these shear walls, I redraw them, these are going to update on the links. Right? I don't have to do it manually. I don't have to go look at the calc set and go, ooh, well, is that a 4? It doesn't matter because it's already in the model. Right? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to check the calc, which I have here already built out. And we've got some small hold downs in here, but let's look at the nailing first. So everything we do, we operate off of grids. And not a lot of people in some areas that we've worked with work with grids. We'll establish grids then, but that allows us to code grids to either the face of foundation or face of stud. And then those dimensions they carry throughout the entire project. Allows you to get started. So what we're going to do is let's just start with grid A. So that's over here. Grid A and grid B are the two that are going to go to 4-inch in the center nailing based on the design. Again, we're skipping the design part. So the A and D, we're going to go to our dynamic components, shear label, pi. You cannot do this to multiple different components at the same time and let it work correctly. It's not going to work correctly. So you just really quickly do it from scratch. We used to do it where the shear label would pop up as a double X's in here. And I realized that's really dumb because if I'm not changing it, it should be a 6 wall anyway. Why am I making the work harder for me? Start of all 6 walls and then nirvana. So we'll save that. And now my nailing. Is sticky about this. Oh, and I've got number 4 walls. It's good to go. Goes up to 8, I do the same thing, but this is all linked so that the layout part only has to be done once. Right? So let's move down that line. Let's go to grid A, add DSPs. I don't really need to show on the wall. So grid B, I need DTT 2Zs. Notice what those are for mini hold downs, little tiny baby ones. Thanks, John. That's all that. So, you know, we used to do this with just these. When we come in and we just drop these hold bands in, we change the callouts. We still do this on the shear sheet. I did perforate these walls, so let's just do it in one of the wall lines. Whoops, sorry. So we're just going to come in here and I'm just going to call these out, right? DTT2Z. So initially, that's, you know, what it's going to look like. Now, when I transfer it down, I'd like to also have these in the model. We found that the market is dictating on the contractor side that we start dimensioning these hold downs. So we can think through the king studs, we can think through any re-entry corner details, we can think exactly where these hold downs are. Obviously, when they get their window shops, just thinking like that, they may change a little bit, but that does give them a very good starting point. And typically your window shops are within, you know, an 1/8 to a 1/2 inch difference, typically. And so usually you can stay within that 5 degree out of pun rate or rule for Simpson if you go above 18 inches, even if off just a hair. So what we're actually doing is we're going to dimension these and drop the real ones in to the model. And that's important. Again, we're talking about internal information from our Econ library. Hold downs. This is all built in already. Just gonna explode that, regroup it. I don't like to work on components to be components for possible. So again, you bring things in from the library, it's a component. I like to explode that component, then if you're gonna regroup it, but components and components can get a little bit hairy on big bars, right? Little ones, so what? Like stuff happens, but on big ones, if you're not careful, it can become a problem. So let's just go ahead and drop these in real quick. I've already determined, I would swap one king here with the bevel trim. That's just what we're using as an example. And actually, for this case, let's just do the opposite. Let's go one under the window, just for the heck of it. Which is probably how I would do this anyway, because then as something shifts out, it doesn't usually cause that much of a problem. So let's save that. And back to layout. Let's update it. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to imagine that this is for a whole structure. I'm just going to group close fold downs, right? I'm just going to group this, and as a check for myself, I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to put it on what we are calling the foundation anchor plane, right? Okay, so here we go. Oh, I decided in the hollow I wanted to go to the other side. So let's just shift this down. Back to here, delete that one. Now I've got it, knows what it is. That one looks about right. I do know that I want to show the king stud because that looks super awkward, right? So let's do that real quick or fix it. Oops, one more. That's going to go on structure wood, which only matters when we're doing steel shops, but it ain't just good had it. We didn't talk about the steel all that much, but that's okay. You'll see what it ends up looking like. And this also allows me to control the king stud there at that location. Cool. So the two things I want to do on this anchor plan for these is I want to dimension those rods. I also want to call out what they are. Are we using rods? Are we using SSTBs? What are we using? So again, back to scrapbooks. And this is actually a new one in 24. But when you drop things in, if you grab your component, it will auto update that text. It didn't used to do that. So if we go to hold down fallouts here, voila. Now here, let's just go ahead and dimension these real quick. That's a huge dim line. Then the center line. Oh, there we go. Then we also know there's one more thing we want to add to the anchor sheet, and that's here for bolt spacing, right? So we do have a cable for that. Oh, that was terrible with the bolt ends. Let's go ahead and do reveals. Again, those come in on the layers that I'd like to see them on for our Tunda. So these are steel hold downs. And then the hold down themselves, which we notice we don't see on the planet set, is on a no-show layer. So you can see it in the model, but I don't have to do a bunch of crazy, layering to make that work. I just throw it on one that says don't show it with my layout file. Save that. Okay, so now let's do cool stuff. I asked this in the detail session, but who is familiar with linking Excel to layout? We got one. Rod, can you do that? Prasad? You have? Okay. So we find on some of our bigger projects especially, Nick does this a lot. He has a lot of grid lines. The way his designs work is there's a lot of changes in intervals with the way we try to optimize his shear sports. So it's a lot of time if you think of a big file that has 35 grid lines we're dealing with to come back in and add in all this neighborhood spacing. Right? And what happens is, oh, well, I actually want to use half-inch anchors instead of 5/8. So now you're going to go back into the schedule, and I got to update there by hand. We're talking lots, but 15, 20 minutes, which is a lot of time. You're thinking about, I just need to type some stuff in, right? So what we have developed is linking our calc anchor bolt schedules into layout. So we're just going to relink, and I'll come back to this because we're talking about a lot of tile box stuff too. Let me just grab a file. Okay, so we had our 32-inch on center, 1, 2, A and B. There are no others, 10, 12, 16, or 24 spaced. Just these grids. That matches what we're doing. Now, just for the sake of showing you, what if, oh shoot, I didn't want to do it that way, I've already labeled, but he told me a long time ago he wanted to use half-inch anchors. Okay, we see that, oh, well, that's a terrible example because, say to 32, but let's go ahead and just prove that that's going to work. 9, 3, yeah, let's just make this, what was that? Okay, there we go. Oh, well, no. I hate you again. Oh, okay. Sorry. These are all spreadsheets we create stuff with. Yeah, this is all insurance stuff. So there we go. Now we have half-inch anchor at 12. We can see that if we just do that again, 5/8, it's at 16 now. So let's just go back to half-inch just to know it. All right, we'll save that. Update. Look, our grids changed. We've got 1 to 12. 32s, and by the way, we changed the anchor spacing, or that's not spacing, the size. We also updated the size of the Titan option down in the schedule, all based on that one click, the Excel. So that saves us a bunch of time here in anchor bolt start. Now we're going to say we've got dimension, we've got our inputs called out. Typically, we'll show non-32-inch on center, AB spacing elsewhere. We're going to say that's along grid 2, which are these little panels here. We're just going to say there and there, all depots the 12, just so you can see it. And boom, okay, my for schedule's done. Next one is the fun one. This is still relatively new, so occasionally it gets a little bit buggy. But again, the market is starting to dictate that we specify stem elevations and sometimes footing elevations. Right? It's just what the market is wanting. So we develop that in, but why do I want to do that all by hand? What if it changes? That's a lot of time, right? So what we have here is we've built this in, and just so everybody knows, a lot of times we control the sill too. Yeah, we're doing the sill design, so we're setting these stem elevations. It really helps coordinate. So again, let's look back at our dynamic components. So what we're doing here is this is actually based on the elevation. I know that I've got the that's height above datum tool I just used, for those that don't know that one. I have set my datum from the top of slab to be 100, the garage, so at the entrance. I need to know how they decide to slope it. And so what we have here is our different elevations are accurate to that elevation, which isn't so cool in itself until you see this. Sorry about cop keyboard. Now wait for it because I have to go out of it. Oh, that elevation is now accurate to what is in the model, which is kind of cool. Now, okay, you say, okay, that's kind of cool, but how does it save me a bunch of time when I have to go back to the elevation plan to deal with that? Well, we color coded the elevation plan, right? So you minimize your callouts. We do require that our plan sets be printed in color. Yes, it's more expensive. Hopefully you only have to do it once if you don't change things, right? What we have here is, again, scrapbooks. Notice I keep pinning the scrapbooks on the here. Stem elevations. Will we have direction lit? Yeah. And again, now that these are linked, right, what happens when we update the model? If anything updates in the model, those are all going to make force, or going to update force. Right? Dimension of the stem steps. Whoa, that is done. Right? Adjust the notes as necessary. I'm not going to get into notes. Those are pretty specific per engineering. And then foundation plan. You know, we've got here, we started our hatches. We can start doing some detail call-outs on this page. Again, I didn't do them on prior pages because there weren't any non-typical details that needed to be called out. So we're gonna add a detail here, and then a typical detail here. Notice again, I'm using scrapbooks. Oh, foundation plan, let's show one other thing. I didn't think of this, but it doesn't occur in this model. But let's just show what if we've got halfway requirement, right? Highways below, same kind of thing. The component library, foundation, oops, hold on, paths. Well, let's just grab a 24 for the heck of it. Let's just put it underneath this one. Oops. Well. That's going to go on my stretch for 0 group. If you have enough paths, make your own group, put it on the same layer. It doesn't really make a difference. You just don't want to change the grouping once you label it as black, because then it's turn on anything and have to re-click it as the red annoyed you, or at least it annoys me. Update that pad real fast. Cool, so we see it right there. Scrapbooks. Notice that our scrapbooks are broken down kind of by page. You know, it's typically the same kind of callouts on each page. Right there. So I know that these I'm going to call G-beam, which is gray beam, which is a little bit different detail to current garages. Who uses AutoCAD? Yeah? A little bit? Then I type AutoCAD, awesome, man. Okay, we'll do that so I can show it that way. And then I'm just going to call this one out differently. We'll just call this slab show wall. Just internal notes so we can do this later. We'll just deal with those details. Okay, so we look at this foundation plan. We got one other thing we need to add here. Concrete slab. You know, typically, if we know what the architect's looking for, we could put our slope lines in here, the drain at the middle. You know, do this. Grab the right style. Do that. Okay, so we got a drainage system in there, if that's what they want. Standard elevation sheet, we just looked that's done. Foundation's good. Roof framing, that looks pretty good. Roof shear, which we've plotted decals. So let's just follow 2 quick decals here, which is going to lead us into the detail library here in a second. Just going to pull this rig. Again, we had our own internal stuff, so bear with me if you don't follow my nomenclature. These, we know that, you know, I'm just going to say that that's a perforated shear wall, so let's just add that one in there real quick. Perf. And this is really simple, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of time with labeling that for future reference. I'm just going to do the detail sheets real quick. So boom, our plan set's basically done now. On this type of project, we probably wouldn't provide one, but we have been adding roof nailing plans and floor nailing plans in so that we know exactly where our draft lines are. And we have a lot of time on these custom big homes. We'll ask the contractor to go with spray paint and spray those lines. So whether we decide to take the drone out or we're out there and get up on the roof very easily and safely, like we can see very quickly where they put those lines and match that up to the roof framing, the roof nailing plan too, right? We can fly the drone, break down what the nail spacing and about the paint lines to get just a representation of. So there we go, there's kind of our plan set. So now let's add some details. So we know we're on 2456. I realize I did not talk about the height lock yet. I'll get there. I want to do it all at once. I just passed that Maria over here. 2456. Okay, so we typically start foundation, then we go connections, and then we go shear. That's typically how we try to orient. It doesn't always work out. You'll find a detail after you've done most of the plan set. Oh, sorry, foundation plan or foundation detail is on the last sheet. My bad. Happens, right? So let's look at what we need at the foundation. You know, just based on here, I know I'd be by, you know, just by looking at this, because I've been doing it, I'm evaluating my gray B detail. The one I just pulled out in there, we need, you know, slab with a shear wall above, and that pretty much handles most of our, you know, project-specific details. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can draw your details, drop them in. We can talk about the detail library, which we will in just a second. But then there's also the idea of using your own internal libraries on the detail sheet side that you've pre-built. So here, I know that I've got a foundation one. So the connections for the floor, for the foundation. So I made one. This is just going to be a standard detail sheet that has everything linked in where I want it. And I can pick and choose what I want, right? Okay, I've got a lot of details in here. These are all pretty standard. I don't really have any steps in this detail. It might step the footing, I'll leave that. Corner, I don't have any shear walls or bearing walls of the interior. I can get rid of that. Down in Napa, we don't typically need to pin it a rock. I don't have any custom CBs. And I can now decide with a couple of garage details, I'm just going to use this one for this project. I don't have any exterior pedestals, that goes away. I can just come in and this is going to be sloppy, it's okay. And voila, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save this file as my, this is the VS 2.1, my first detail sheet. And then my detail numbers will match. So S2.1 would start at the 100s, S2.2, 200, so on and so forth. I'm not going to relabel these, but I'm just going to go to the turn down slab. We'll just call this, that's 107, and now I've got this. I can go back to foundation. So I can set, for those that are not familiar with AutoText, I've got all this built in. Grade beam, G-beam is what I called that one out as, 107. Those are all updated, right? This is the lat shear at wall. Okay, what is that? I'll just call it model 2. So, and no, we don't have any custom decals, no custom decals, no custom connection decals except this one, which is just that king stud decal, which I'll call out. Typically, we don't call out kick studs other than where hold downs occur because it's just a typical decal. Where hold down occurs, if I lead it like this, it's going to show up on site where we go, what the heck is that? So I will typically pull out either 2 eyes or 3 eyes where those occur. So for this, I'm just going to drop in your 2x6 detail. And I'm just going to label that as a king stud and do back to that later, because then this sheet's done for now. Okay, let's go up and let's do one more sheet. Okay, that fix that. Sure. So I know we've got a couple roof details I need here. I need an eaves and rake. So again, let's just do that again. Do I have a sheet made for that? And yes, I do. Do those traffic permutation. Roof. I don't, so I didn't actually prep for the presentation. Awesome. So let's go here. Let's actually do a quick introduction to the detail library and grab those details. So we have an integral detail library, which we talked about in the last presentation. I don't have a bunch of time to go into it very quick, but feel free to find us afterwards to talk about it more. So this library is built in with our current company library is over 6,000. It's ready to go, put in details, go into it. So I know for this project, I'm looking at a roof eave detail that I need. So I'm going to roof eave. I know it's a solid rafter. Right there, I know it's perpendicular. And I did it wrong already because it's trusses and not that. So I'm going to go to truss rafter, perpendicular. Okay, cool. That's not quite the one I need, but it's close because we know that the trusses are stopping at the wall. So let's go ahead and grab that one because it's as close as I have for you. So let's grab that. We're going to flip the hyperlink, which is going to open a layout. I'm going to copy that detail. Let's just put it in the other sheet for now. Right there, I'll save that for later in just a second. Close this, let's grab the rape detail. We know after about 11 minutes, I know where we go fast, and then Q&A. Nope, all the way back to VA. Roof rake, I got a truss rafter. Para, no stopping at the wall. I want that version. Open that one. Grab that. Paste. Voila. Okay. Good. Now we know that for this detail, I need to alter this detail real quick. So let's do that. But this is going to be a quick aside from the detail library because this exists in our detail library. Remember, when we save SketchUp models that are existing, you want to be careful, and if you're going to edit that model, if it's referenced in other projects or other locations, right? Because then it will update in all of those locations, which we don't necessarily want. Find model info. So I'm going to go to our library. Then I know this is the library, so I know the scene. I'm going to copy my scene, cut into our detail, search, which was a great addition. Copy that, select all that, copy it. Interrupt view memory. We'll plug into just a second. Everest view. Close. Sketch them up. Upper buttons. It wants to. Pro laptop is working overtime. And it didn't know it was the core laptop. It's gonna die during the. No. Let's try. Okay, I'm gonna let it think for a second, but we're not gonna go into actually PDFing this thing. We know how to PDF for the layout and preset. We all use at least the reasonable PDF software to everything. Okay. Wait, if you don't, come talk to me or to talk. Where you go, back to that plugin I use, we're gonna recall view. There, or create the scene, all of that. We're gonna save this as just, I'm gonna save it to the desktop as just custom use. Oh, here we go, I love that. Serial killer. Custom use, stop at wall. All right, and call it there. I'm gonna just go, I gotta do this really, really fast. Boutique to do this. Oh, no. Doesn't like me. Nope, we'll see fight. The won't use it. Nope, we'll go. This is gonna take longer to do the other way. Okay. Just put this. Again, sloppy detail, but you get the idea. We're doing this fast. And we can't see that one, so that's good. So mine's also quick. So as he's doing that, everything you see on this, on the screen, all those pages of details that we've created, all the plan sheets, everything, we're willing to bundle all that and sell it. If we can get about people interested in doing it, and it's just the amount of time it takes him to bundle it, put a ribbon on, create all the videos, do a step-by-step process. We're willing to just release that to public and see if we could, and that was the thing I talked about from the beginning, get the engineers to transfer over. If 3 or 4 weeks, we create this plan set. With okay, Zapo, I've just been interjected, we're running short, but essentially that is how we fill the plan set. I know it's very abbreviated, but that kind of teaches you the gist of the labeling, teaches you the gist of the detailing. This all as if just getting PDF. We clean this up and make it look all pretty, change the views a little bit, add some fog. And from there, it's going to end up with a set that's going to look, let's go ahead and pull up a final set of a cool project.
That's fine. Our pseudo 6 better.
So this is one that just is completed, just finished the steel shop drawings, and it's breaking ground pretty much as we speak. So a full set is going to look, something like this. Feature leaking? Yeah, I will. Just going to filter a bubble here. So full elevation gauge, we can see how this could be very useful in the field. We've only been doing this for about 6 months, and people love it, especially with color. And what we have is, we find good page, some details on it. What we do is we also hyperlink our plan sets to make them easy to use. As everything starts to move away from paper, even in the field, laptops, iPads, it starts to be much more efficient, even for the guys in the field that sit around trying to flip through pages. So we said, well, any detail 308. Okay. We can try that in PDF software. And we are doing the linking in the PDF software. There's no good way that we have found yet to do it internally, especially if you're doing it through multiple documents, which you kind of have to do with layout sometimes, depending on the size of your documents. So we have that, and do another one by 301. Okay, there we go. And then active, good. What about products that they don't know about? What about you get someone out there that doesn't know what a WSHRT is, right? The template for the neutrinos, right? So we've got, or is it, hold on, I have it in here somewhere. Oh no, it's in the notes. All right, you move it to the notes. Or notes. So if we go like a WSWRT, you click that, and it's gonna, since the site is not working for Wi-Fi right now, but it goes online and grabs that information so that in the field, whether you know what that is or not, you can open and go, oh, that's what he's talking about. And immediate feedback saves them calling an engineer who may or may not be able to answer, right? They have immediate feedback. And that's a link to Simpson's page and tell us, yep. So as they data stuff, it's right there. And then the last thing we'll do is we do a set, is we do provide full 3D PDFs on the cover of the plan set, which is our alternative to Kubity right now. We'll wait under. There's new stuff going in SketchUp that will be very similar, hopefully. So we're waiting on that. But we also do full page 3D PDFs as necessary if they want specific areas. So what we could do here is that set goes out, and then we can immediately start working on steel if they want to let us do the steel shot drawings, which we prefer because it's already built out. It's accurate. We can be that fast. We've had 2 now in the last 3 months that have full steel shot packages in or as building permit is submitted. Before they have permit, they have full steel shops.
So I assume you have full library connections in there, like that.
Some of them, we typically had a library of plates that we build in, connections. It's just part of our detailing, most of the connections. And then if you might do the steel, you probably just detail it into the model and then pull it out for a decal as opposed to doing it another way. Stiffeners, ears, stuff like that, we pull in for all the different sizes. We don't have to draw those each time. You're over on the rain layers. You show like a member? Yeah, that's what I was the next part. So if we come in, so we start looking in these, and this is kind of funky with the copes because we had such thin numbers, but that's all built into SketchUp. And the way we do steel, we don't break out any of these numbers. All of these and all of this data is coming from the primary structural model. It's one model. And we do that. You could do it where you're bringing components out, referencing and doing all the stuff, but we found in our experience that stuff gets missed when you're going down to this level of accuracy. Some will make a change in the main model, but they should have made it in the component model and then regraph, and that just, it makes it very difficult to check things. And we go through 2 checks on every set before we go out. 2 different engineers review sets. So that makes it much more time consuming if you have to go to that level of detail.
So you have setup scenes for just
each member has got a scene, and so then each steel member group, which has all the components, neighbors, studs in it, is on its own layer. So it gets a little bit funky with the layering, but if you plan it out right, it's really cut down.
How many do you end up having?
For steel?
Well, overall.
Like I had, just in general? Yeah, it depends on the model. Depends on the model, but I mean, like this one has a fair amount because I had 70 steel numbers in it that we had to detail.
And each one of those is a layer.
Each one is a layer. But it's like if you use I was a late adopter of the tag groups because I was very much on, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, don't mess with my system. And then I started using it just for those kinds of purposes. I started using the tags to get like structure 2 level, structure 1 level, structure 0 level, and then structure steel. And when you do it that way, you're not really using it just as overabundance, like to change your overabundance of layers. You're using it for a specific purpose. It's not too bad, right? Because in the view, you're only going to see 4 or 5 grooves. It's not too bad. You know exactly where you're looking.
And so what do you have as a, I'm sorry,
No, here's mine. Go ahead.
what do you have as a labeling convention for all of those?
I mean, it helps over. I'll show you.
Is there a seam root?
Seam group does not exist yet.
Right.
They're working on that.
This should.
They're working. It does not currently exist.
Yeah. Like a folder of scenes. Yeah, you just have to wait for the layer.
Well, that's just pulling out the right files, right? Your CAD.
Did you guys just sit like speak it to just be like, this is our old standard and this is how we're templating everything?
So as that's opening, that's really quickly. External plugins do this very, very fast. The 3D text editor by TopFont is awesome. If you do the 3D text and you want to edit that layer, you have to reinsert more 3D text. But with 3D text editor, you edit his instead, and it's just a fast spot. You can change it wherever you want. Interrupt, view memories here for the detailing that allows you to memorize a view or memorize scenes, export those to another import. A really good one. Auto visible layer. Anyone? Yeah, couple. Auto visible layer is apparently very similar to another plugin I wasn't aware of, but that when you insert a new layer, it does not get added to all of your scenes that are already existing. Medik Truss, we use Gist Truss, and I only use Project because he moved the cut and extend tools from Truss to Project. Other than that, that's the only reason I have them. PDF encoder we still use fairly often. That's Brock, John in the back. It's a great little piece of software. For him, I have more licenses than anyone that's ever bought that software because bookkeepers keep crashing and he has to keep giving me more licenses. Profile Builder 3, really powerful. I haven't played before yet. We'll use it for Spiel. I'm still trying. It takes a lot to develop our system, or I haven't had a bunch of time, but I am using it right now on Steel. All the Steel you saw, all the Steel you see on like the stuns, that was all built with Profile Builder to keep the spacing what I wanted. What else do I have on there? In SimLab Exporter, that's Microsoft SimLab software. That's what I use to generate all our 3D PDFs. Kind of a little bit funky to use to get used to it, but it's as long as you generate your templates the similar kind of way as their software, it works out pretty well. So we have a question about the naming convention of tags here. So what we've got is all of this junk you see here. This is all architectural stuff. I don't typically group those because then if they add a layer down the road and it's just a mess, I leave their stuff alone. But so for us, it's always how many levels you have and then 0 is the foundation. And those all relate, again, like we talked about earlier, to the various stories of scripts, right? So like structure 2, I'm going to have my beams, columns that are different, varying, continuing. Any foundation that might hit 2, loans, rafters, shear, and then just various on and on. And each of those occur at each level, rather than grouping various things into a level and then turning your level on and off. This gives me the ability to alter things very quickly. So if I look at, I know I'm short on time, just boot me if you have to, go to the scene. So it allows me to run scripts that are, I don't want to look at that layer anymore, right? Or wrappers I don't need plywood, or I don't need those, we could turn off grids. It allows you to do stuff like that as opposed to taking the mouse from here to your second screen, turning these on and off, or, it's just a lot more control. 1, 2, 0, 2 levels. Keyboard. So I was waiting for a while, thank you. Okay, so I'll just show you real quick. I wrote scripts that essentially toggle group visibility or toggle layer visibility. So I know that if I want to have the ability to really quickly see what's happening on architectural, right? Oh, but I don't want to spend time moving my mouse from here over here and then back. I can just do this. I can use a shortcut. And then, oh, well, I don't really need to see that upper level anymore. Oops, see, here we go. There is no structure tree in this model. Oops, my bad, I'm on structure 2. I don't need plywood. Good to go. That allows you to do that. So our convention, when you lift the steel, it gets a little bit more on, but you see how that works. Columns are all in a column under the steel, beams, same kind of thing. And then any assemblies. Any miscellaneous, that's where we have our members that show wood, show steel. We do import our civil surface when we do the civil design. So this is what's actually going to be out there. Stop that now. I know we're out of time. You're out of time. I apologize. That was all I had. That's the little thing. The websites on here. We have a store and a plan process. The store talks about our detail stuff. The plan process is an information grab if you're interested. If we can get enough interest, we will produce that process. That's just to grab your email address or contact information, give you a little bit more info. Do check out the SketchUp blog. We just did a good feature with them that talks about a lot of this stuff. That is on there. Yeah, question. Anyone? No? Someone? Thought I saw you.
No, where is the? I was looking at the notes earlier. Where is the? To anybody your emails and show interest.
Oh, it's right here on the where these arrows are. If you go to our website, the zacharyengineering.com, and you click on the extend thing on the top right, you'll get the drop downs here, and it's just right there. Flip on the plan process, and it'll call right up for you. It's just a Google note or Google page. You just go to the website. Yes, you can actually, because we do have that ability. Yeah, we just go right up here and plan process. It'll pull you right into this form. Yeah, if we can get enough interest on those, we will absolutely produce that. It's an awful lot of work if we're not going to have people who are going to benefit from using it. We think you will, but that's totally up to you. That's all I got. Any additional questions, come find me. We'll be wandering the halls. We're around.